let me just walk through what I have going on so far with the build. And again, so I haven't played for the last week, but the couple days I played before I had to take that week off, the build felt strong, right? Like we only got to test for a couple days, but I feel very strong. I felt like we're in the right direction. A lot of my gear is still going to be similar to the preseason. It's just adapting to the changes around the heart gems, right? So again, my helmet, if you saw my preseason helmet, it's the exact same thing. Total armor, lucky hit with barrier, CDR, and max life. Of course, razor plate, perfect roll, insane. Not only that, but I got a perfect, insane god tier Fist of Fate. The rolls on that are absolutely ridiculous. I actually put this on kind of as a joke when I started testing the heart gems and stuff, but the main reason I wanted to put these on were for the immobilize and the daze. Not necessarily the 300%, that's just a bonus. I'm sure it helps, but the extra CC stacking with the creeping death, I believe that's what it's called, the creeping death, wrathful heart. So yeah, I tried. So again, I ended up putting that on, felt phenomenal. And these, I found these just using them for now. They work pretty good. Total armor, thorns, max life, and damage reduction. Penitent Greaves, max movement speed, lucky again. My rolls on a lot of these legendary items this season early on, like I said, I haven't even played for the last week. This is all from, over a week ago. All this gear, all these rolls, just absolute insane. I spent a lot of time in Serets and been farming Serets like crazy, and Serets has been very, very good to me early on in the season, so I'm lucky there. But yeah, again, the point of the Penitent Greaves is chill is another CC, so I'm stacking as much CC as I possibly can for the additional multiplicative damage. Getting as much CC as I possibly can to get as much damage as I possibly can out of creeping death is kind of my main testing right now. Again, everything could change. I haven't really got any. I haven't even tested the barber yet for this build specifically. Just because, like I said, with some of the gear I've found, especially the unique legendaries, I just wanted to put something together, and I'm telling you right now, it is an absolute blast to play this way. Is it the strongest? I don't know. We'll see. As time goes on, I'll try different things and see what I feel like ends up being the strongest. But right now, I do feel very strong. I can hold it down against a lot of I see a lot of rogues. I haven't come across many barbs yet. I'm sure in the last week there will be a lot more now that are leveled out there, and so we'll see how that goes. But yeah. So again, the theme is basically I'm doing what I did in the preseason. I'm just adapting to the changes of the season, and the biggest changes in the season are heart gems, right? So again, I'm just testing those, playing around those best I can, trying to make my build as strong as possible with what I have. And again, so far, so good. Wand, int all stat, vulnerable, damage to close. I actually just imprinted this before I started going through this. I just imprinted this with decay. Prior to this, I had needle flare, which was for thorns. Again, testing things. I have another perfect roll needle flare, and I believe another perfect roll decay. Like I said, Serets has been absolutely amazing to me early on. But so yeah, I want to test that and see how that feels as opposed to needle flare, but might go back to needle flare. But yeah, we'll see. And again, so the amulet blighted, of course, and I've already been talking about the wrathful heart that I'm using, creeping death. I'm trying to get as much CC built around that as possible, and that's Fist of Fate gives me 2. Penitent Greaves gives me 1, and even this gem, can't remember the name of it, Frozen Heart or Frozen something, another 20% chance of fear, which again is another CC. So the amount of CC I can pump out, and they all stack, the more damage I'm going to do from creeping death. So that's my main, I guess, the main shift for the season from the preseason, because again, the concept's the same: high DR, high survivability. I have as much DR as I can get through my abilities. Not necessarily my gear, because again, Like obviously razor blade, I lose a lot. I'm still putting it here where I can, right, and getting my total armor where I need it. Another big change this time around from in the preseason, I was at 9,200 armor cap. Now I'm at 7,200, and it feels fine. I do feel like poison rogues are a little wild, but I have so much life, and now since I'm hard capped at 7,200, you know, I'm drinking a health potion and getting another 30% on top of my already, you know, almost 24,000. So I'm able to hold down against most rogues I've come across, even the crazy ones. And my damage is significantly more than it was in the preseason. Again, because of how I'm building around the heart gems, right? Wrath hearts are insane. Barber, whether it's a creeping death barber, if you play it right, and build around it right, like all of them are really strong actually, from what I've seen. But yeah, so, and then for rings, of course, we got ultimate shadow and blood soaked. And then for stats, I'm doing vulnerable damage, lucky hit, max life, and close damage. And I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with close damage. The reason I went with close is because most of the time that I'm fighting, I'm on top of a player. I'm kind of like a melee type build, even though it's a dot build. But I did that because it not only scales with my dots, but it also scales with thorns, right? So I felt like that was a good starting point. I might try to change that out, basically the same thing, but like with shadow damage or something like that, just to see if it feels better. But yeah, until then, I don't know. This ring, you can see I swapped the close damage for barrier generation though. And again, haven't actually tested this yet. Just another thing I want to see how that feels. I know in the Bone Spear build that I did, resource gen felt very strong. So I want to try barrier gen just because obviously Bone Storm gives me a barrier. And honestly, if I find one of the new temerities, I might even try putting that on and seeing how that feels. So again, I have a lot of, keep in mind, this is where it's at currently. It feels strong, feels good, but I definitely have a lot more things I'm going to be testing and changing around. So, but this will be a good starting point, giving you guys a good idea of, you know, my thoughts on it, what I'm trying to achieve, what I'm doing, just how I'm going about it. And you guys can take it and do whatever you want with it and shift it however you want. But yeah, and then eluding, of course, because rogues CC, there's just so much CC in the game right now, it's unreal. And I do feel like eluding is kind of like almost mandatory. Even with it, it's still very hard, but at least it gives you some breathing room initially. And depending on how you play or whatever, but yeah, so CDR, again, DR, Thorns, and max life. You can see pretty much every piece I can get max life on, I am, right? My rings, my shield, my pants, my helmet, and, you know, that mixed with Paragon and the Book of the Dead, that's why my life is insanely high, right? But yeah, so far so good. It feels really good. Again, I'm still making changes. A lot of stuff I want to test yet, and that's with different, you know, aspects and different pieces of gear. Like I said, temerity maybe, different rings for sure. I'm gonna try, stuff like that. So Book of the Dead, same, Reaper sacrifice, Cold sacrifice, and Blood sacrifice. And then for the Paragon, so what a lot of people want to see, I'll go over just real quick. Currently running Gravekeeper first. That gives me extra armor so I can hit my cap, damage, and int. And then I move over into Flesh Eater with Control. And then over into Scent of Death with Darkness. Over into Wither with Scourge. And you can see, originally I wasn't in the preseason. I kind of got rid of Wither, but they buffed it. So I'm taking it back, trying it out. Same thing with Decay. They buffed that too. So that's why I'm trying them out again, and it feels good. But yeah, then down into, I don't actually get this node, but Bone Graft. So this is bone, but it just gives me extra life and armor, and then obviously another glyph spot, and I use territorial there. And then over into the 6th one. Seems kind of crazy, but it works. And then I put Imbiber there. And this is Blood Begets Blood. Again, I don't actually get the last two. I don't actually get the legendary nodes. It's just to get more armor, life, and then the extra glyphs. So, yeah. And again, this will probably be changing too. Keep in mind, disclaimer, this is by no means set in stone. This is not like the official final build, final version of what I'm trying to do. It's just a very good, it feels good. It feels very strong as is. I do think I can make it stronger, hence why I'm going to try more things and test things and change things. But for all y'all that are wondering, you know, what the build is and where it's at and what I'm doing, there it is for you guys. Hopefully, I'm trying to think. Oh, I should go over just skills yet. Skill tree is, of course, Reap over into Acolytes. And then down here, we only get the Hewed for more corpses, down into Max Blood Mist for CDR, right, to get lower cooldown on it. Into Ghastly, Max Corpse Explosion, Blighted, of course, and Spiked Armor for Thorns. Only 1 Grim Harvest, 3 Fueled by Death, 3 Death's Embrace, 3 Amplified Damage, Decrepify, of course, Aberrant. And then I get 3 Reaper's Pursuit, 3 Gloom, 3 Terror, 1 Crippling, 1 Corpse Central, into Plagued, 3 Memento, and 3 Standalone, and then Bone Storm and Prime Bone Storm. I do not get the Supreme because, again, I'm not running crit, no reason for it. Hence why I put that actually up over here instead, just to give it a little extra CC. Again, the theme is as much CC as I can possibly get, stacking it everywhere I can. And then Shadow Blight, of course, no brainer. But yeah, skill tree, Book of the Dead, Paragon, you know, gear overview, kind of explanation of the concept of it. Hopefully that's enough to get you guys started. Maybe you guys can figure out some better stuff, because again, keep in mind I only actually PvP'd a couple days. I already put out a video last week, but I have not played this entire last week. So I'm sure a lot has changed. There's a lot more people out there, hopefully anyway. It'll be interesting to see. I felt very strong, you know, last week with only a couple days in. But again, I've been very fortunate with a lot of the unique stuff I've gotten, right? Perfect Roll, Razorblade, God Tier, Fist of Fate, Perfect Roll, Penitent, Greaves. Well, movement speed wise, which to me is very important, right? Max movement. You can see on my amulet as well. Huge. And I got as much CDR as I possibly can pump out. So yeah, hopefully that helps. You know, a lot of people don't share this juice, but I feel like there's a lot of, like us necromancers out there, we kind of get dogged on a lot in terms of people talking smack and stuff. So hopefully some of you other necromancers out there could put something together with this and maybe even make it better, and we get out there and we hold it down. You know what I mean? So good luck. GG's. Much love. Hopefully it helps y'all.